The story opens with a man named Clay, a former operative from an elite special forces program hidden within the U.S. government called the Beekeepers. This secret group handled missions that were too dangerous and too classified for normal agencies to deal with. After retiring from the Beekeepers, Clay walked away from violence and chose a quiet life working as a real beekeeper. He rents a small garage from an elderly widow named Mrs. Parker, where he also lives. Mrs. Parker, once a schoolteacher and now active in the charity that supports financially struggling women and children, and enjoys Clay's company. He's respectful, soft-spoken, and consistently helpful. Clay, in return, appreciates her kindness for letting him stay on her property. One evening, after Clay finishes tending to his hives, Mrs. Parker calls him inside for dinner.
While she's preparing things and checking her laptop, a sudden warning pops up on her screen claiming her hard drive has been infected by a dangerous virus. The message urges her to immediately call a listed support number to avoid permanent data loss. Worried, Mrs. Parker quickly calls the number, not knowing it connects to a group of criminals running a phishing scam while pretending to be an antivirus company. As soon as she calls, a team of hackers remotely breaks into her computer and gains full access to everything on it. They begin scanning her files and watching her recent financial activity. Confused by what she sees happening on her screen, Mrs. Parker speaks with the so-called manager, a man named Garnett. He assures her that everything she is witnessing is part of their virus removal process. Pretending to apologize, Garnett then asks her for her banking information, promising company will compensate her for the inconvenience. Trusting him, Mrs. Parker provides her bank details, and moments later, she sees a deposit of $50,000 appear in her account. Startled, she asks why she was given so much. Garnett calmly explains that he accidentally sent $50,000 instead of the intended $500, and asks her to please return the excess money. Not suspecting anything malicious, Mrs. Parker logs into her online banking to issue the refund, but the moment she types in her password, every cent in her account disappears. And his crew have just wiped out all her money, including the charity funds she is responsible for. Shocked and heartbroken, Mrs. Parker begins to panic. Meanwhile, unaware of all this, Clay is busy bottling honey to bring her as a small gift. When he goes to her house, he immediately feels that something is wrong. He quietly grabs a kitchen knife for protection and walks into the living room, only to find Mrs. Parker dead on the floor with a pistol lying beside her. At that exact moment, FBI agent Verona storms into the house with her weapon raised. She believes Clay is involved in her mother's death because Mrs. Parker was in fact Verona's mother. Verona calls local police, who conduct a full investigation and take Clay to the station for questioning. Though heartbroken, Verona pushes through her grief and insists on being part of the inquiry. As evidence is collected, it becomes clear to investigators that Mrs. Parker had fallen victim to a large-scale phishing operation and lost all her funds. With proof that her death was not a murder, Clay is released the following day. Clay returns home, and Verona arrives to apologize for accusing him. She explains the scam destroyed her mother financially, revealing that this criminal network, the fake antivirus company, the phishing scams, and the long trail of victims. According to the FBI, this criminal group had slipped through federal fingers for years. No arrests, no leads, nothing but devastation left behind. Clay listens quietly, but inside he begins to feel cold and determined. The moment Verona left, he contacted the Beekeepers, his old Black Ops unit, and requested intel. The message was simple: find them. Keepers did exactly that. They dug up everything on UDG, fraudulent antivirus company run by Garnett, and the information was quickly placed in Clay's hands.
Clay wasted no time. He arrived at the UDG headquarters carrying 2 gasoline cans. He tore through the security team with ease and stormed into the control room, confronting the scammers face to face. After beating one of the workers senseless, he demanded they swear never to prey on innocent people again, then ordered everyone out. As soon as the room was empty, he soaked the entire place with gasoline.
Garnet arrived with backup, but Clay crushed them effortlessly. Before walking out, wired a bomb to detonate when the office phone rang. Seconds later, it did, and the explosion tore the building apart. The explosion at UDG shook the entire criminal network. Garnet, still reeling from the destruction, immediately contacted his superior, Danforth, to report what had happened.
He explained that a man calling himself the Beekeeper had stormed their facility, taken down their entire security team, and blown up the headquarters without hesitation.
Danforth, furious and panicked, ordered Garnet to hire a crew of violent enforcers and finished Clay off before things spiraled out of control. While Garnet scrambled to assemble his hit squad, Verona learned about the massive blast at UDG and, despite her grief, felt a flicker of relief that someone had struck back at the people who destroyed her mother's life. The next day, Garnet and his new thugs tracked Clay to his bee farm.
They waited until Clay stepped away, then vandalized his beehives, smashing the frames and destroying everything he cared for. They quietly followed Clay, thinking he didn't know they were behind him. But Clay was several steps ahead. The moment he arrived home, they ambushed him, only to realize they had walked straight into a trap. Clay moved with brutal precision and took down every one of Garnet's men.
He let Garnet live, but only to send a message. Clay sliced off Garnet's fingers as punishment and a warning, letting him escape in absolute terror. Meanwhile, Verona interrogated a UDG employee about the scam. During questioning, she received a call about fire at her mother's house. Panicked, she rushed over, only to find that Clay's garage, the place he lived, had been burned to ashes. Even worse, investigators discovered a UDG employee ID card among the charred bodies at the scene. Because of this, Verona started to believe that Clay was involved in a violent conflict with UDG. At the same time, Garnet, bloody, injured, and shaking, called Danforth to admit their attempt to kill Clay had failed. Danforth became furious and demanded to know who Clay really was, but before Garnet could explain, Clay suddenly appeared.
Garnet didn't even have time to scream. Clay attacked him mid-phone call, tied him to his car with a lashing belt, and sent the vehicle speeding forward, dragging Garnet straight into Deep Danforth. Heard Garnet's final moments through the call, horrified. Clay then picked up Garnet's phone and calmly told Danforth that he was coming for him next. While this unfolded, Verona and her partner Matt tried running Clay through federal databases.
Every search returned nothing. No records, no identification, no assignment files. It was as if Clay didn't exist at all. Verona realized he wasn't an ordinary veteran. He was someone trained in a secret government unit that even the FBI wasn't allowed to know about. Soon after, she received confirmation. Garnet had been found and linked to Clay's vehicle. The connection between Clay and the UDG syndicate was now undeniable.
Meanwhile, Danforth met with Wallace, a former CIA director and the man responsible for keeping Danforth safe at the request of his mother, Jessica, the new president of the United States. Jessica insisted Wallace protect her son, unaware of his criminal empire. When Wallace learned Clay was a beekeeper and elite Black Ops operative, he immediately recognized the threat. He contacted Janet, the current CIA director, demanding information.
Janet confirmed he had retired from the Beekeepers. Wallace ordered her to kill him before he could reach Danforth. Janet passed the order to the active Beekeepers and chose Anna, one of their agents, to take Clay out. Clay stopped for gas, unaware that Anna was tracking him. She attacked quickly, but Clay reacted even faster. He disarmed her, overpowered her, cut off her fingers, and set her on fire, blowing up the entire gas station. The Beekeepers immediately informed the CIA that they would not get involved further. Clay was acting alone, and they refused to take sides. Wallace received the same message. He was now on his own. With no agency willing to intervene, Wallace gathered a squad of special forces and briefed them. He revealed the existence of the Beekeepers and painted Clay as a rogue agent who posed a deadly threat to innocent lives. The team had one mission: eliminate Clay. As Verona and Matt inspected the charred remains of the gas station, they discovered what was left of Anna's body.
Although nearly unrecognizable, the evidence made it clear she belonged to some secret government program, but Verona still had no idea why someone like her would be hunting Clay. Meanwhile, Clay made use of Anna's severed finger to bypass the security on her home. Once inside, he accessed her computer and traced the signal from Garnett's phone. The location led him straight to the 9 Points building.
The headquarters for NSU, another fraudulent company tied to Danforth's empire. After gathering weapons, explosives, and gear from Anna's arsenal, Clay set out to finish what had begun with Mrs. Parker's death. By the time Clay arrived, Wallace's special forces were already positioned throughout the building, ready to kill him on sight.
Outside, FBI SWAT surrounded the perimeter, certain Clay would strike soon, yet Wallace made no move to evacuate the regular office workers inside. He let them stay at their desks, a chilling sign that NSU wasn't a normal business. Just like UDG, it was another front for their massive phishing scam empire. Clay's arrival caught the SWAT team completely unprepared. He hit them first, tearing through the officers guarding the entrance, neutralizing them in seconds. Once inside, he blended effortlessly with NSU.
Employees walking among them as if he belonged there, but a Special Forces operative event spotted him and all hell broke loose. The team launched a coordinated assault, but Clay's training eclipsed theirs. He moved through hallways and cubicles like a ghost, eliminating each operative with precise efficiency. By the time the gunfire stopped, Wallace's entire Special Forces squad lay defeated. Clay seized the moment to interrogate Rico, a nervous NSU executive he cornered during the chaos. Clay demanded to know the identity of the man running both UDG and NSU.
Rico tried to boast about how powerful and untouchable his boss was, insisting the law couldn't touch him. Clay replied calmly that nobody's untouchable, sometimes when the hive is out of balance. Terrified, Rico finally relented and began revealing the truth. Before the confession was complete, Verona and her FBI team stormed the building. They surrounded Clay, weapons raised. Clay escaped through the upper level, slipping out before they could arrest him.
During the aftermath, Verona and Matt pieced together what they had been missing. Danforth, the president's son, was the owner of UDG, NSU, and several other scam companies hidden inside Danforth. These companies provided software to countless government agencies, giving Danforth unrestricted access and the perfect infrastructure for his criminal operations. Verona also realized that Clay might not stop at Danforth. The president herself could be in danger simply because she was connected to him.
Deputy Director Pree took the threat seriously. He assigned Verona and Matt to track down Clay while ordering the Secret Service and SWAT to tighten security around the president and her family. The next day, Verona and her partner joined the Secret Service at the president's beachfront mansion.
She and Danforth were hosting a charity event. Security was extremely tight. Agents, checkpoints, surveillance systems, but Wallace still didn't trust it. He secretly hired a team of ruthless mercenaries led by Lazarus, a man who claimed he once fought a beekeeper and survived, though he lost a leg in the process. Meanwhile, Clay reached the estate from beneath the radar.
Literally, he slipped through a drainage tunnel that emptied near the property, crawled under a truck entering the mansion, and silently incapacitated a SWAT officer.
He planted explosives on several security vehicles before himself and walking straight into the charity event undetected. Inside, Deputy Director Pree briefed President Jessica Danforth, explaining everything. Her son's manipulation of the software used by government agencies, his network of phishing companies, and the fact that her entire campaign had been funded by stolen money. Jessica was devastated and furious.
At that same moment, Verona sensed Clay's presence and immediately ordered the SWAT team to capture him.
Surrounded at gunpoint, Clay dropped to his knees as if surrendering, but it was all part of his plan. He remotely detonated the explosives he planted outside, causing every Secret Service truck to erupt in fire. With the agents disoriented, Clay broke free, took down the operatives closest to him, and stormed into the mansion. Inside, he fought through rooms of Secret Service agents, neutralizing them with precision, but saving his full brutality for Wallace's hired mercenaries. When Lazarus confronted him in the hallway, the two exchanged a brutal fight that ended with Clay standing victorious over Lazarus's fallen body. Clay finally reached the hall outside the president's office, but Wallace blocked the door. Wallace begged Clay to spare Danforth, insisting that killing him would cause irreparable political chaos. Clay ignored him, grabbed Wallace's hand and snapped his fingers one by one before pushing past him. Inside the office, Danforth had snapped.
With his mother preparing to expose his crimes publicly, he panicked, grabbed a pistol, and shot Deputy Director Pree right in front of her. Clay planted an explosive on the door and blasted his way inside. Verona and the FBI agents charged in right behind him. Cornered, Danforth grabbed his mother and held her hostage. Verona pleaded with Clay not to shoot, but Clay's focus was unwavering. He looked at Verona and asked whether she served the law or justice.
Seeing Danforth ready to harm his own mother, Clay made his decision. He fired a single shot, killing Danforth instantly. In the confusion, Clay slipped out a window and made his escape toward the beach. Verona lifted her gun, had a perfect shot on Clay, basement, and lowered it. She let him go, understanding exactly why he did what he did.
Clay reached the shoreline, slipped into the scuba gear he'd hidden earlier, and disappeared beneath the water, leaving the mansion behind as law enforcement swarmed the estate. The story closes with the warning that disturbing the beekeeper's hive never ends well, because justice, once awakened, is relentless, and that is how it ended. Like and subscribe for more videos just like this, and remember to turn on notifications. It truly supports the channel. Thanks for watching.